So, what is capoeira, right? Capoeira is it's more than a martial art. I originally started it thinking in martial art I was going to learn how to do high-flying kicks, but there's much more to it than that. It has a really rich history and culture, and it's part of a larger story. Capoeira was born in very harsh conditions in Brazil during the colonial era, which lasted from about the 15th to the 20th century. And the slaves were brought from Central and Western Africa into Brazil to work in, they did everything from sugar to gold to lots of hard labor. And but what they brought with them were culture, were their dances, their games, their ways of play, music from Central and West Africa, and those really harsh conditions, and what their really desire to be free from the oppression, they adapted. They adapted what they had learned back home and used it to fight back against their oppressors. So some of the slaves banded together, they fought against their captors, they were freed, they hid in the sort of rough terrain areas away from the plantations, and formed the quilombos, or the runaway slave sort of places. And they were able to maintain a society, with the biggest one anyway, and Dos Palmares was able to stay alive for almost 100 years. So they were very, very skilled in warfare, and capoeira was kind of started in that environment. It was a way, I mean, it was harsh times, it was war for them. But capoeira today, even, and I should probably back up, so after slavery was abolished, late 1800s, capoeira was actually made illegal. And I think this is kind of an important thing to understand, that unlike maybe some of the other martial arts that were able to flourish in the light of day, capoeira was persecuted. People who practiced capoeira were criminals. They were hunted down and tortured, sometimes killed by the authorities, because capoeira saw as a danger to the government. So there's the history is difficult because it wasn't celebrated. In fact, like I said, it was illegal after the abolition of slavery until about the 1930s, and it took probably another 30 years before people started to even halfway embrace it as, you know, as something to be proud of. So, and even when I started, and I ran into capoeiristas in the late 90s, early 2000s who had come from Brazil, and their families kind of looked down upon them for training capoeira. They're saying, why would you want to do that? Because it still has a little bit of the stigma, but I think now capoeira is like spreading all over the world, and people are starting to realize, that it's really a gem.